Hello, welcome to AI in Action. My name is Mari. I'm here with my husband Jim, and we are going to talk about artificial intelligence. I have finally convinced him that we are going to move our podcast to Monday nights instead of Sunday nights, so I can at least have on something other than a t-shirt. So, anyway,
What's wrong with t-shirts? I have a t-shirt.
well, there's nothing. I went to work today at my K-12 position. I actually had to put on a little bit of makeup, fix my hair a little bit. Sunday is my day to relax. Yes, we
Right.
talk about AI on Sundays, but it's my day to relax, not to actually record a podcast.
Okay.
So we're going to move it to Sunday evenings. And let's talk about artificial intelligence. So one thing that we were talking about earlier is that it's really kind of slow in the news feed.
And I was thinking about that ever since we had that conversation. Is it slow, or is my attention span problem that I have just making it harder for me to find stuff that actually interests me? I mean, I was walking out today, and yes, we both still work at a school district. I was walking out, and I ran into our SPED director, and we were talking about some issues she was having, and I was talking to her about ChatGPT, and it was funny because, first of all, she said that thing that we've been hearing for almost 3 years now. I haven't had the time to sit down and really figure out how, make the time to learn how to use it, which we tell people
You
they don't
have to
do.
learn. You don't
I
have to
know, but the
learn.
other thing she said was when I said that we're working on, because we're doing a thing for the school district, for apparently we've got a lot of people that have signed up to come listen to us talk about AI, and I told her that I was trying to decide, what should we leave in, what should we leave out? And I mentioned history, and she goes, "Oh, I don't know anything about the history of AI." So once again, the things that I think are obvious and everybody knows them already are not obvious to everybody. So maybe I'm having an attention span problem. It just seemed like a slow week to me.
Well,
And
you are living in the AI bubble.
I am.
And we have talked about this before. When you live in the AI bubble, that is what's important to you. And so everything is like moving fast, moving fast, moving fast. So when something slows down just a little bit, you're like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? When everybody else out here is going, please slow down just a little bit.
Yeah, I know. It's that room full of beads problem. I like the shiny beads, and lately all my beads look the same color. I'm like
No,
a
I'm sorry.
crow in a room full of shiny beads, but there's not enough shiny beads.
I'm
So
sorry.
I decided to look at this from the perspective as to people actually give a crap about AI on, in the headlines, the news, the whatever. So I started looking at this from the direction of, news in general. So I thought, well, because I still use Google search, and I know you do some too, because Google search traditional doesn't hallucinate. It feeds you a nauseating amount of ads, but it doesn't hallucinate. AI search can hallucinate. It can make up stuff. So you have to be careful about taking everything at face value that you get for your news feeds if they're coming from AI. Of course, you can get a lot of not hallucinated. You can just get a lot of stuff that's completely fake news that people have posted, garbage in, garbage out. So you can have a similar experience with Google search without all the ads, but I tend to use both. I am leaning more toward using AI for search because it's that not only nauseating number of ads, but I don't have the time or the attention span to try to absorb. You've got everything Google gives you, you have to go read and try to absorb. And that's fine if it's a little more depth to it. But if you're just trying to get some kind of news and stuff, and you just kind of want to get it pre-digested, you kind of want to skim it. And the news feeds are all sending you feeds now that are behind paywalls. So I'm leaning a little toward AI. So, but anyway, I digress.
So what did you do? You went to Google and you said, okay, what are other people searching for?
I did. And once again, it vindicated you. But let's talk about...
okay, hold on. First of all,
before we get to that,
there's nothing wrong with it vindicating me.
Well, it is when you're wrong. But
I'm a normal. I am a normal.
Well, we both are. Anyway, so I decided to, and I'll explain in a minute, I was going to use YouTube and see what the top stories for the week are. What is YouTube talking about? Well, as you said, the problem with YouTube is I've been using it for so long that it feeds me back into that bubble of mine. So it is hard for me to get things that aren't AI related. But it seemed like the big three: the Pope, basketball, and weather. I
Well, the
thought
Pope
basketball was
passed.
done.
I am
Why?
not sure about that. You would have to check on that.
Well, I think that mostly it was talking about who's getting traded, I think, to
Oh,
who or
okay. All
something.
right. Well, if the season's done, then everyone's making all the trades and everything, and everyone's moving to different teams and figuring out where they're going to be next year. And, so, and also you're looking at your basketball season for your college groups that are
Hmm.
done. And so now are they going to go pro or, what are they going to do? So the Pope we know is because he just unfortunately passed away. So
Yeah, this
that's a big one.
seemed like a good, nice guy Pope too. It's kind of
Yes,
sad,
yes.
but
And then the
anyway, yes.
weather. Why do you think the weather? I think
Well,
because we have extremes now. I mean, we
Well, we
really
just had
do.
extreme. Remember, we had that frontal boundary that passed through here, or whatever the heck that was, that gave us the storms over the weekend. Well,
Yes.
that kept on moving east, and when it gets east, once you get toward East Texas, deep in Tennessee, and all those areas, out east,
They have
it's
more
got
moisture, so
it's
it
got to
has
change
more
into
stuff.
tornadoes and
Mm-hmm.
just really ugly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
I
mean, and
suspect that's why the weather.
we even looked up the other day about the hurricane season coming up because we were talking about
Yeah,
going somewhere this summer, and we're predicting a much higher than normal hurricane season when it comes to number of storms in the Gulf.
yeah.
So yeah,
Assuming
so
the current administration doesn't completely get rid of the Weather Bureau or privatize it to where we can't actually get weather anymore, um, that was useful because it was a government. It's the NOAA or whoever that does the Hurricane Prediction Center.
mhm.
Hopefully, Elon Musk and all those other folks won't take all the funding away from them. I like the weather stuff. So, and
Well, I mean, think about people in rural America who need to be warned. I mean, the early warning system comes from
yeah.
NOAA weather radio and stuff.
Well,
So,
the people from I suspect some of those people from the ones that feed you the news, like AccuWeather, are probably wanting to kill the government sites because then they can force you to their sites. They don't want to kill the agents; they just want to kill their sites because that way you. And I don't know if you've been on one of those sites, but the number of ads is
hmm,
astonishing. I mean, it's popping up everywhere. It's like getting on some of those websites that just sell you all kinds of junk, almost like a bazaar kind of thing. There's just
right.
oh
And
my,
then they're
the ads
gonna
are overwhelming,
then they're
but
gonna
that's what they
start
want.
wanting to sell you the ad
Already
free
do. They
version
already do.
monthly and all that.
Already
Yeah.
do.
So I can
That's why they
understand.
don't want the
Follow the
government giving away
money.
for free. Absolutely.
Follow the
So
money.
I thought it was interesting. So I started looking for, okay, what are people searching for? And you can find all kinds of Google search stuff if people are still using it. Well, the reason I picked YouTube for the news thing was because guess what? The number one thing people search for,
YouTube.
YouTube. As a matter of fact, the first number, like 4, 5, 6, or something, is YouTube, Amazon, Facebook, Gmail. Those are the most popular search terms. I'm not clear on why Google is the most popular search term unless you're in a different search. I mean, if you're in Google, why do you search for Google? But
Well, a lot of people are locked down as to what browser they use, depending upon what their business, provides
and
them.
they want to use Google search,
And
so
they
they
and they
just
want
search
to
for
use
it.
Google search, so they search for Google so they can pull up
Mm.
that within their Firefox or Edge or whatever browser they're using.
Okay,
So they search
so
for Google.
this is the part where you were vindicated
Yes,
because I was
your
giving you a hard
point,
time
oh,
today,
gave me such crud about the fact
but
that I constantly type in the word Canva. And you were like, why don't you just have it as a shortcut? And so I was like,
absolutely, I still
okay,
believe that.
fine, fine. I won't bookmark it. I'll literally put it on my Google page as a shortcut. We did that. But now I'm like, okay, what if I'm logged in somewhere else? What if I'm in a different computer? What if
Doesn't matter
what if
if
it's
you
not synced? What if
since it's in
it's,
Chrome, it's gonna
but if
sync.
but I have to log in to make sure it syncs.
You always do
And
anyway.
quite often it's not synced. It tells me I have to log in again so I can make sure I'm synced. And so,
I'm gonna log in as you and delete that shortcut just so you can keep typing Canva into Google. I'm surprised you've done it so many times. I'm surprised Canva didn't make the top 10. Um,
uh, it always makes the top when I go to
anyway,
search. Anytime I type in C, it just pulls it up. So I'm done. So there you
so
go.
number 10 was interesting though. ChatGPT was number 10 of the most
So
searched for
people are
terms.
searching for ChatGPT.
Yeah, which makes you think because they don't know how to use shortcuts apparently, or download the app, which you can get for Windows, your phone, just about any OS you can imagine. But why do that when you can just search for it? But anyway, yes, ChatGPT did make the top 10, barely, but it did, which I, you have to wonder, are people searching for ChatGPT for then to then use it for search? Like the people that are
Or they're
searching for
looking to
Google?
set up a free account, or they've been told about it. Or I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why somebody could be
Yeah.
searching for ChatGPT. So, all right. So what else? What else did you
Well,
look up on whenever you started talking about that?
well, the news stuff for AI news, ChatGPT being number 10 was, to me, that's AI news. Most of the AI news was the word insane model, Google versus OpenAI versus Claude, which tells you that, no, that people don't care about anybody else because those are the big three. But there's a whole lot of other large language models besides them. The ultimate coding model, huge news. These terms that people use to try to grab the headlines,
Mhm.
doesn't it get self-defeating as you grab so many headlines trying to use big words? It's like the word, what is it, delve, that the AIs
Mhm.
like so much. After a while, you start thinking, okay, this is AI generated just because.
Right. And that irritates me. And we've talked about it before. I used words like plethora and delve and enhance and
Peloponnesian War and
yes, I've used all these words before, and I've been writing for a very long time, way before freaking stone tablets. I was writing,
according to your kids,
so
we used to ride dinosaurs at school. So yes, you've been
exactly
chiseling on stone tablets.
for a long time, and so it's really annoying. And like the ellipses, the dot dot dot, that stuff. They're like, oh no, don't do that. That's AI, and I'm like, I have been a dot 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 person for a really
Me and
long
you
time.
both.
Enough so that when I send a text message, I say dot dot dot. When I'm doing like a voice text message, I
Yeah, I
say
know.
dot
You
dot
actually
dot.
do. I've heard you do
Yeah,
that.
I know. And so it's like, get off my back when it comes to stuff like that. It doesn't matter if AI is helping me do something. It matters that the thoughts are still mine and the content is still mine and the idea is still mine.
Yep.
I'm just getting help with the grammar and the writing and the flow of something, so get off my back about it. But the other thing that I thought was kind of interesting was that when people are searching about AI or what do they really care about, one of the things that you said was, will they take my job?
I think that part of it is because the news feeds that looking for anything to put on the news, they talk, Bill Gates said that AI is going to take all your jobs, or Sam Altman said, or somebody, some rich guy said that AI is going to take all your jobs. I really, of
There,
course, do think it depends on what your job is, because I can tell you the person that, came out and fixed our air conditioner, our plumbing the other day, I'm not seeing AI come out and dig underneath my sidewalk and find a leaky 30-year-old pipe and patch it. But hey, maybe. So I
well,
guess
one
it
of the
depends on what
things
you do.
Well, that's funny because I was on, of course, LinkedIn today, and one of the reports, or a study just came out, and they were saying that there was only like 1,500 people that they surveyed, which is a really small group of people.
Mm,
But the number one thing that they said is that the people who are asking are saying that AI is going to take my job or AI will take your jobs. They're all saying all except my job. I mean, they're like
yeah.
saying AI is going to take all these jobs, but they don't think that it's actually going to be able to take their job. And that's everything from a receptionist to a doctor to somebody who works at a McDonald's. Like across the board, people are like saying, "Oh yeah, it's going to take a bunch of jobs, but not mine."
Well,
Which
I can tell you, as someone who has spent every single day working with AI since large language models were released to the world, which is roughly almost 3 years, as you've called me, AI obsessed. I don't know of a single job that was being done well by someone that AI would take over today. I mean, AI agents, this is the year of agents. Everybody's talking about agents. The agents. All an agent is tools with some brains behind it, which means basically you take a tool. Normally, a tool could be a search tool or it could be whatever, and you give it the ability to go off and make decisions on its own. I don't know anyone in the near future that's going to trust AI to make all the decisions on its own. Now, when I say it's not going to take their job, it's if you're not willing to learn to use the tool. So if you're a travel agent and you're good at being a travel agent and you use AI travel agent tools, you're going to be a better travel agent because it's going to make it faster for you to do it. If you write code for a living and you use AI tools, it's going to get faster. I mean, I remember when there was a guy that was doing board design for us years ago, like circuit board layout stuff, and there was some really incredible tools out there because I did board design at the time. This guy used to use Microsoft Paint to design circuit boards. That's ridiculous. And it was so slow. He did a good job, but it took him twice as long. And we weren't paying him any more than we were paying anybody else, which means he really was not making great money. But that's what he preferred. He didn't want to learn the tool. And he was clear about that. He didn't want to learn the tool. I think that whether or not it's going to take your job, it doesn't have to. And I haven't seen AI so good at any particular task that it's going to take someone's job tomorrow. Maybe 2 years from now, but I also think that's going to be dependent. I think our expectations for services are going to go up. So even if AI gets better at a particular task and doing it autonomously, I think that our expectations for that is going to go up. So maybe instead of 10 people doing a particular job, you only need 4. So people are going to lose their job.
Mm-hmm.
But those 4 are going to be better at their job and they're going to be doing what they did, but they're going to have better tools. But
Right.
I
The
think,
second thing they were searching for, I thought was really interesting when it came to what they
we
really
talked
care
about this
about
one
with
a lot.
AI. Yeah, they were asking what happens to my data and my privacy. What's
Well,
happening with my
shouldn't they have
privacy?
been asking that for the last 20 years,
20
25
years.
years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
At least they're asking now. People are saying they're putting the word AI with it when they're searching for it, but they are asking, what happens to it. And I think the world we live in has something to do with that. I mean, when you have these states that are banning abortion and they're trying to charge women with murder for having an abortion, and women are now suspect. We've got 2 of our daughter and our daughter-in-law are both expecting, and they're younger. I mean, they're in their 20s, and they're looking at it going, "Do I want to use a tool that would be really handy? Because if something happens, like it did with you, I mean, you had a miscarriage. I mean, this is not something you were happy about, but
Mm-mm.
who's to know that in today's world that you couldn't have been charged with some crime for it? I don't
Well,
know. I don't know
I
what
had
the law says.
flown. I mean, I had flown from one state to another, and who knows?
So
I mean, somebody could say, I mean, I was not told that I shouldn't fly, and as far as I know, there's nothing to say that you shouldn't fly. But who's to say that eventually
somebody
they're
wouldn't
not going to say
decide.
that that was endangerment of whatever? Yeah, I mean,
Especially if it
so
wouldn't have been your understanding husband, but you had a boyfriend who you just broken up
yeah,
with and
it's
who was
just
trying to
gotten
get you in
really
trouble.
crazy.
Anyway, but the point is they're using tools that are not going to they don't want to use a tool based in the US. They'd rather use one based in Switzerland because
Right.
they have actual privacy laws that keep law enforcement from getting access to stuff that's very personal.
Mm-hmm.
So I whether you agree with me or not, I really don't care. I like to argue, but if you want to disagree with my assessment as to where we are in the world today, you can.
Well,
But
that
my
leads us to the
belief
next
is
thing.
that we're having the conversation, and that's
Right.
what's important.
Right. And that kind of leads us to the next thing,
It
which is the
does.
third thing that people were asking, which, hey, we did it the other night.
We do it all the time.
Health questions, health
Yes.
questions. And people are like, don't ask AI health question. This is dangerous. You shouldn't do it. It hallucinates. It doesn't know. But I will tell you, in a small town whose hospital just shut down, there's no minor emergency clinics. There's no hospital. The closest
This
thing
one
you
30
can
miles
do,
away.
it takes you 40 minutes to get there, or a $5,000 minimum ambulance ride.
That was before COVID.
Right. It might be more than
Now
5,000
it's
now.
probably 8 or
And
10,000 now.
and that's if you can get the ambulance to come to your house before you die. Because, okay, we are in the largest county. We live in the largest county in the state of Texas, I
At
do
least one of the
believe.
large. Well, it's one
One
of
of
the
the,
largest.
probably the
Yeah.
top 10. And we have
933 square miles.
2 ambulances that are on at all times. One's
And
on
it's
one side of the county, one's on the other.
what do
I
we
mean,
used
our son worked for them for a while, and he was like, they literally park the ambulance on the side of a road under a tree, waiting for a call so that they can be within a certain amount of distance of one side of the county.
Well, I think that's part of it. When you talk about emergencies and stuff, I think the other part of the health questions is I went to, I'm going to have a procedure soon that all men think, especially men think, oh, I don't really ever want to get that, which is why colon cancer is one of the number one killers of males. So I think you know what procedure I got to get. But I had to go and pay just to get a consultation, which basically show me a chart on the wall as to what a colonoscopy is. I paid $160, $170. By my calculations, that doctor is made, for the time I spent there, he makes $2,400 an hour is what they're charging.
Okay, so
because they charge the insurance company $600 for that
right,
for
right.
that 15-minute
Was,
discussion.
and the funny part, or not the funny part, but the part is we have a general practitioner. We pay Jack, a concierge doctor, a certain amount of money per month, love him to death, to take care of us for general health. He ordered the colonoscopy.
But they still wanted me to have a consultation.
They still wanted you to go to a specialist so they could charge the insurance $605, of which we had to pay our portion, which was $170 for literally 20 minutes.
That was 15 minutes. They got me back through that thing so fast. I have spent more time in a convenience store getting a bag of M&Ms than I spent in that doctor's office. And by my calculations, they're charging the insurance company and the people involved $2,400 an hour. So think about it. You want to go to a lawyer and get legal advice. That one of the people I was talking to today, the one I mentioned earlier, who says her husband uses it quite a bit, and so she's thinking about starting to use ChatGPT. She said one of the things they've done several times is legal advice. And it's not that they're going to take it as the gospel. It's not going to be their final advice, but it'll cost you $400 or $500 an hour to have a discussion with the lawyer. So what you want to do is have the discussion with the AI first, kind of get your thoughts together, get yourself organized, go to the lawyer and hit the exact thing you want to hit, because you want to spend the minimum amount of time, because they're charging you. The meter's running when you walk in the office. So you don't want to have that meter running any longer than you have to. So
but it kind of goes back,
reason why you're going to use it.
Well, it kind of goes back though, because now I'm like, okay, I ask it medical questions, therefore I'm giving it medical information. What's going to happen to my data and my privacy?
Well, they claim they're not training on it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a slippery slope that we have to kind of think about.
But sometimes you don't have a choice. But we don't have a whole lot of time left. We wanted to kind of talk at the end here about something we found amusing.
Okay.
Which was the Sam Altman thing you sent me.
Yes.
And so, what wasn't amusing, what he said wasn't amusing. It's the different, I mean, I read Reddit stuff a lot. You read some stuff on LinkedIn. I found a particular quote I like, so I was going to let you read a quote. And I may have to bleep some of mine out.
What was the quote?
Comment. Oh, no, you go first.
Oh, the comments.
First, you got to say what Sam Altman said.
Okay. Well, first of all, what Sam Altman said was that, okay, we need to stop saying please and thank you. It was a big thing that came out. I think it was in I'm not 100% sure what media article or what article it was posted in.
I've seen it in several places, though.
Yeah. But basically, he admits. It's
on their website. It's on the OpenAI's website. They posted it themselves.
He admits that saying please and thank you to ChatGPT is wasting millions of dollars in computing power. So let's put this in perspective. If I use ChatGPT and I finish doing something and then I say, thank you, I type back, thank you.
Well, it does have to.
That's going to have to use a GPU to send that back, and then it's going to give me back a response, which is typically like you're so very welcome. We'll get on this next time. You did a great job. Love your writing. It's like it's really is an ass kisser. And I love that. And it strokes my ego. It's great. Pets my ego. But he's saying stop doing it because it's costing too much money.
Well, they're running out of.
Don't be nice.
In reality, they don't care about it costing them money. What they care about is they're running out of compute because they keep releasing features that are incredibly computationally expensive, like generating Ghibli images or however you say that, and Minecraft images. And it's very computationally expensive, a whole lot more expensive than text. Text is the least computationally expensive thing they do.
Right.
But anyway.
Well, what I thought was interesting is that there was a person that I follow on LinkedIn that I actually met her in San Diego, I believe. And she reposted it with her comments. And then she has like 100 comments that have happened back and forth on her post. And one
Mm-hmm.
of the things that she said at first, she was like, oh, okay, I understand, sorry about that. I'm a please and thank you kind of person, yada, yada, yada. And then other people kind of came back and forth, back and forth. And then finally she posted again. She was like, wait a second. I slept on this last night. And I just realized that Sam Altman, this is what she said, Sam Altman is passing the environmental issue onto the users and not taking any credit for the harm to our planet. Sure, I can stop saying please and thank you, but can you stop scaling up at exponential speed without building sustainable solutions even faster?
Yeah, but I'm glad we're having that conversation. But Google search, which I'm sure this person uses every single day because everyone on the planet does, has 3.2 million servers dedicated to just Google search. 3.2 million servers.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had them for 15 years.
Thank you,
And
AI. We're
Google
having those
Google has
conversations.
been Google. I haven't noticed Google saying, we can't do search today because we're using too much energy.
Right.
So I mean, the output of a hydroelectric dam I read somewhere is what one of their search centers takes. So I agree they need to get that fixed quickly, and they have done a huge amount of work to make it less computationally expensive
Mm-hmm.
because it's in their best interest to give you answers and use less electricity and less GPUs. So it is a cycle. I agree with them. It has to be talked about, but it needs to be talked about if you're going to talk about it, talk about it in a broader scope.
Right.
And
Right.
because
And
people
what
don't
was
want
your
to give up
quote?
their technology, people don't want to give up their tech. Well,
What was your quote?
mine was kind of obscene. There was one guy that said, I told precisely you're supposed to say, and it gave it a bunch of 1 zeros, and he goes, "Oh crap! I just called AI mom a
Bad
prostitute.
word.
That's a nicer way of saying it. Time to go hide in a bunker." And another guy, it's the Reddit guys
The
are funny
Reddit
about it.
comments
They
versus the
are
LinkedIn
funny,
comments are really funny. Yes, the Reddit
but
comments, if you want to like have a beer and have a laugh, and then LinkedIn
they're funny.
comments, if you want to kind of like think about things.
The
Those
Reddit
are the
people
differences.
they tend to have a really good sense of humor. But one of the comments I swear my daughter that was posted 2 days ago. I swear my daughter wrote it. Yeah, but when AI takes over, they're gonna spare me because I was nice to them. But I think in all seriousness, I mean the quotes are funny, and I agree with the energy consumption. It needs to come down. I get that. But you and my daughter made a really valid point, which is why I never said please and thank you. As a matter of fact, I was rude and have been cut off, and you've made fun of me for it more than once from AI. I got it the other day for using all uppercase.
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT refused to talk to me. But the reality is when you are unpleasant, or when you are rude, or when you are terse, it's habit forming.
Yes.
And if you don't teach kids, like it's less efficient for a kid to say please and thank you to a teacher, but it's
Right.
expected. And now we're not talking about energy use less efficient, but in a general conversation, if you're using a lot, these are unnecessary words. But why do you use them? Because it's a
It's
habit.
polite. Mm-hmm. And it
It's
forms a
polite to
habit.
another human being. You're not talking to another human being, so technically you don't
No,
have to be polite.
no,
But
but it
even the
forms another
ones
habit because
it
we
does.
dehumanize. Well, we dehumanize people on the phone too. It's like,
Well,
yeah, I
but
talked to a
AI is
tech
not
support.
human.
I
You're not
talked to a
dehumanizing AI.
physical human
Yeah.
on the phone for tech
Mm-hmm.
support today.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have dealt with AI so much in the last 3 years, for a few seconds, I'm like, is this person human?
Mm-hmm.
And until I knew that the person was human, because of the conversation that we were having, I wasn't treating him the same. And so what I'm saying is you should always be polite. Always.
I think it's for your own, but think of it as karma. Karma is not about what you're doing to someone else, it's what you're doing to yourself. And if you're being nasty to someone else, you're not dehumanizing AI by being rude to it because it's not human.
Mm-hmm.
But you are dehumanizing yourself and making yourself more likely to be rude in general. I mean, you've seen kids that play video games all the time and how they talk
Oh,
to the people on the video games. They
it's
tend to
horrible.
translate that into real life. You've seen it in the classroom.
No,
So
100%.
I think this is an
Absolutely.
example of you don't want to anthropomorphize or whatever you call it when you're making a human out of it, but you still want to act like a human being enough. Just consider it practice.
Right.
If nothing else, consider it good practice. Anyway, we
Because
ran out of
what's the
time.
next step? What's the next step? What is going to be next that we are going to dehumanize? Is it going to
Westworld.
be an animal? Is it going to be,
Westworld. Watch
yeah,
Westworld. Because
watch
Westworld is
Westworld.
about robots, androids that become so human-like that people get all their weird, distorted fantasies, and they're awful. But they go in there because they know they can maim, murder, rape, and pillage in this environment because they're just robots. But
Right,
it's really hard to separate whenever you're acting like that toward a something else, even if it's not a human. If you kick a robot every day, you might kick a human next. Anyway, we
right.
ran out of time.
I
You
know,
get
but
the idea.
I'm gonna
You get
make
the
one last point before we wrap up.
okay.
My last point is going to be that there have been studies about how you get a better answer if you are polite.
That's true. 6 or 7% better
The reason that I think that is because humans trained AI,
with human
and
writing, with what
it's
humans
human
wrote.
writing, and
Yeah,
the human writing that is polite and nice, and gives you a better
gets
answer, gives you
it gets
those are
better
the types
responses
of
from other
things.
humans,
It gets a better response from other humans, and so
which
it gets
that's
more reads, more likes,
yeah.
more everything.
hmm
So
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah, I do too. So anyway, my name is Mari, and I'm here with my husband Jim. It is Monday night, and we're talking about artificial intelligence. We don't have a lot coming up. I know summer's getting here, so if anybody wants some
Well,
AI professional development, make sure you reach out. We have a website, of course, aiedpro.com. If you have any questions or anything, you're more than happy to answer them. Just make a
and
comment, and we'll get back with you.
we need some love on Medium too. We write Medium articles. We write Medium articles because they're too long, and you want to they're the long read kind of
Right.
stuff, and you tend to post them on LinkedIn and stuff. So if you
Mm-hmm.
have time, find it's Mari and I on Medium. Give us some love. We're
Yep.
our
Absolutely.
readership's kind of gone down recently. It kind of was climbing there for a little bit. It's kind of
Well, I've
plateaued.
kind of left some. Haven't been putting as much political stuff on there. I've been putting a little bit
Ah,
more emotional stuff, and I think people right now they're just they're up to their ass in alligators with other things, so
yeah.
they don't have time. So
Okay.
we hope that you guys have a marvelous rest of the week.